The where is KD going question. It was asked at every barbecue over this weekend, right? So let's ask it right here. As these discussions, Perk, continue to take form, take shape, what does KD need to hear from the Nets or potentially from other GMs to possibly widen his wish list? Because we've heard it's Phoenix and Miami, but as Adrian Wojnarowski just reported, Toronto Raptors, these types of teams we should be keeping an eye on, Perk.
Well, Malika, over the weekend, I had a lot of time to think. And when I start thinking, that's not a good thing, okay? So here's the thing, right? I thought about it, and let me channel my inner Brian Windhorst for a second. Okay, I'm looking at it and I'm saying, why would KD want out? Okay? Why would Kyrie go searching and seeing if a team would want to do a sign and trade, and then all of a sudden he opted into his contract? And then all of a sudden, once Kyrie Irving opts into his contract, then Kevin Durant comes out and says, I want to be traded. He tells the Brooklyn Nets he want to be traded. I'm to the point, and I came up with the conclusion that I don't believe Kevin Durant. I don't believe it at all. Matter of fact, it makes zero sense to me that he wants to be traded at this point. I don't believe he believes it. I think Kevin Durant is doing this as a scare tactic in order to help Kyrie Irving have leverage to get him signed long-term with the Brooklyn Nets. Because then think about this for a second. Rudy Gobert quietly got traded. We didn't really know too much that was going on with Vol, but we heard the rumors. But think about what Minnesota gave up. We're talking about KD, a top 5 player, arguably the best player in the NBA, and we're saying that he hasn't been moved yet. I mean, look, KD is like the Jordan Concourse, the 11s. Like when they come out and it's a release date, it's an hour max before those Jordans are sold out. So you're sitting up here telling me right now that Kevin Durant is still on the market. Unless you're Milwaukee and you're not giving up Giannis, you're not giving up John Morant if you're Memphis, you're not giving up Luka if you're Dallas, you're not giving up Steph Curry. But if you any other team around the NBA and Kevin Durant is on the market, and you mean to tell me that nothing has been done or no traction has picked up over the weekend? I don't believe it.
Okay. There was just a whole lot that was put down there, Zach. I feel like we just need to take a just one hot minute. So Kendrick, I'm hearing you say, as you're channeling your inner Brian Windhorst, that why hasn't a trade been done yet, and you're not sure if Kevin Durant really wants to be traded? Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I said. I don't believe it. I'm telling you, I have to see it. But as of right now, I don't believe it.
Okay, well, we know this is a very complex trade that would have to happen. Zach, you look a little bit skeptical here.
I need a few minutes to recover from the perk bomb that just got thrown all over the studio. I'm not quite sure what happened, but I get what he's saying about a leverage play, but you answered your own question, Perk. Why hasn't a Kevin Durant trade happened when Rudy Gobert got traded? Rudy Gobert's being traded for 7 draft assets is one of the reasons why Kevin Durant hasn't gotten traded. It's virtually impossible for the Nets to get commensurate return for Kevin Durant from one team and maybe not even 2 teams. So this is going to take a while as they try to cobble the best package possible, because if Rudy Gobert can get Utah well, Kevin, it's almost, people looked at that trade as a good sign for Sean Marks and the Nets. Like, wow, what a standard's been set. I almost thought it was sort of a bad omen for them, because it's raised standards, it's raised expectations to just an unreasonable place. There's no way they're going to get commensurate value for Kevin Durant, so they're going to search and search and search for the best possible package, and it's going to take a long time.
I'm just still processing the fact that Perk, that you don't believe that he wants to be traded. I'm just trying to imagine that conversation and what sort of happens in all of this, Kendrick.
Well, I mean, because I'm looking at it, even before Rudy was traded, Kevin Durant still had announced already, 2 or 3 days before Rudy was traded to the Minnesota Timberwolves, that he wanted out. What I'm saying is this. I put KD in the same conversation with Giannis. If Giannis hit the market and said that he wanted to be traded, I guarantee you the Milwaukee Bucks would have got something done in 2 days.
Well,
because everybody would have emptied. But listen, hold on. So what I'm saying is when you have this caliber player, it's no way that you have this many teams out there with this many young superstars or young stars, and they're not jumping and hurry up and trying to get a deal done to land Kevin Durant. I don't care what they have to give up.
But
we're talking about KD, Malika.
Of course, but it's not what they need to give up. It's what Brooklyn would want to get in return.
I know, and what I'm saying is, if I'm the general manager and I got my chances on getting Kevin Durant, I'm granting Brooklyn whatever they want.
Zach,
I don't see. It's not adding. It's not adding up to me.
Does it add up to you?
Everything is not adding up
Zach?
to me. That's the problem.
I don't even think we're doing math anymore. We're doing something above math. So nothing is quite adding up. But look, I mean, first of all, what you're describing, Perk, is happening. Teams are flooding Sean Marks's phone with inquiries, with offers. Teams that haven't even been mentioned before are calling the Nets every day, every hour, multiple times a day. I know this for a fact. And they're getting the impression that the Nets are slow playing this. They're going to wait. They understand that Phoenix is out there, but a two-team trade with Phoenix, as Woj said, is very complicated. I'm not even sure the Nets want DeAndre Ayton as part of that trade. But to go back, what does Kevin Durant want? That matters too, because none of these teams off the beaten path, Malika, you mentioned the Raptors. People have talked about the Pelicans, the Grizzlies, all these teams off the list loaded with assets. None of those teams are offering their best stuff unless they get to talk to Kevin Durant and his people and get a sense, hey, would you like to come here? Do you think this is a good situation? Because we're not offering our best stuff, whatever you think it is. If you're going to come here and be moody and say, well, I wish I'd gone to Phoenix, I never wanted this situation, they're going to need Kevin Durant to choose them in order to trade whatever you conceive of their best assets, or else there isn't going to be a trade to those teams.
Well, that's when it becomes tricky. That's when it becomes complicated, Perk.
Thank you, Malika. Thank you, Zach. You just answered what I was saying was that you just proved my point. Why is Kevin Durant not being more active instead? Like, why is these conversations not being held? If Kevin Durant really wants out, like he say he wants out, why is these conversations not being held? And who's to say the Brooklyn Nets are not ignoring phone calls? Just because people are calling in, do they have to be taking them? Look, I'm just not believing the hype right now. I'm telling you, I had time to think over the weekend. I ate good. And once I start eating and I start sitting down and I start thinking, these are the things. And I'm like, you know what? This is just common sense right here. KD, nowhere in hell he should still be on the market.
Well, I just think I'm going back to the first thing you said when you opened your mouth as we started this show, which was, I got to thinking, and no good things come of that. So that's kind of what I'm going to go back to here and say, all right, Perk, I'm just going to put a pin in this for now, and we're going to get back to Kevin Durant a little bit later in the show. Still to come, though.